How's it going, guys? Cody, we're back again. We're dropping yet another video. Link in the description below, like we always do. Story on my former prison, Forest Bank. It's about a prisoner's partner who is frustrated and annoyed that her son, who's 11 months old, is not able to see his father in prison due to the coronavirus and the prison lockdown. Headline reads, "My son has forgotten who his dad is, says partner of a man held in Forest Bank prison for 3 months with no visitors. My partner is in prison. He's paying the price. Why is he being punished even further?" A mum said her 11-month-old son has forgotten who his dad is as he has been unable to visit him in prison during the coronavirus pandemic. Her partner is currently behind bars at HMP Forest Bank in Salford, which has been under lockdown since the 23rd of March. No visitors have been allowed inside the men's prison, meaning the woman hasn't seen her partner for 3 months. Prisoners are confined to their cells for 23 hours a day under the current rules to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The woman in her 20s, who asked to remain anonymous, said it has had a huge impact on her partner's mental health. Her partner, who's been in prison since last September, has missed seeing their baby learning to walk and talk. "I don't know what else to do. We've had no information. It's like we are in limbo," she said. They're only allowed out for 1 hour a day and haven't been told when they can see their families. "I find it ridiculous that people can go to the Trafford Centre and we can't go to see our families in prison." The woman said she feels there has been fobbed off by prison staff at the prison. She hasn't been informed when she can visit him. "The prison has been very unhelpful," she said. "We are in the middle of a pandemic. It's easy for them to lock them up and blame it on the pandemic. It's like we had just forgotten. It doesn't matter that we can't see our families." The mother said it's particularly tough knowing her son growing up without knowing his dad. "He was only 3 months old when his dad was locked up. I know for a fact he won't know who he is when we can visit him again. He's just getting to know who his dad was. He started to walk and talk. He can't see any of that. I don't understand people saying that when someone is in prison, they are allowed basic rights to see people. It's the law that you have the basic same human rights. It's absolutely horrible. It's put a huge strain on our relationship. He's in prison and that strain's not being able to see him. He feels even more guilty. We feel like we are being punished. My partner is in prison. He's paying the price. Why is he being punished further? Why should prisoners be put at the bottom of the list? You can go to the supermarket like it's a normal day. Tensions are high in the prison," she said, with many people feeling frustrated that they can't see their loved ones. "My partner was a totally different person before the lockdown. He is now constantly frustrated, he tells me. They all feel like that. People are taking more drugs in there. People are on sleeping tablets in the day because they are taking spice and sleeping tablets just because they are in prison. Doesn't mean their lives mean nothing. He's trying to get a mental health assessment. He said he feels like killing himself. I have got great family. They do help. If I didn't have them, it would have been even really hard." What prison bosses and the MOJ have said. Her Majesty's Prison, Forest Bank, is a Category B men's prison operated by those jokers Sodexo Justice Services. Mark Spencer, director at Forest Bank, said, "We continue to operate fully within agreed prison service and public health guidelines to minimise any spread of COVID infection within the prison. This has necessarily involved significant restrictions on the normal prison routine to ensure safety. We understand that this is a difficult period for residents and their families and hope to move towards re-establishing some services as soon as safe and sensible to do so, although a date cannot be set as yet, as this is not under our direct control." A prison service spokesman for the MOJ said the restrictions on daily life have helped save lives. A spokesman said restrictions on daily life in our prisons have helped save lives and protect the NHS, and to minimise the impact on prisoners, we have rolled out video calls and provided secure mobile phones so they can keep in touch with their families. Andy Keane-Downs, the chief executive of the Prison Advice and Care Trust, or PACT, said lockdown in prisons has meant that prisoners have been confined to their cells for 23 hours a day since the 23rd of March, with no visits, classes, gym, chapel or association. It will be taking its toll on prisoners' mental health and well-being. It's hard on families. We don't want to see families break up because of the lockdown, because we know that when families stay together, prisoners are much less likely to reoffend on release. But the evidence strongly suggests that the decision to lock down and stop visits has meant that the number of deaths so far in prisons has been a tiny fraction of what would have happened if regimes had been allowed to continue as usual. Hundreds, if not thousands, have been saved. This really has been a hard price to pay for prisoners and their families during the prison lockdown. Some prisons are introducing video calls for families to keep in touch. We'd urge Sodexo, the company that runs the prison, to invest in free video calls for prisoners to maintain contact with their families. Families can call the National Prisoners Families Helpline free and confidentially even on 0808 808 2003. 0808 808 2003. Now, when I genuinely feel sorry for this prisoner's partner, right? I also understand about the lockdown, but things have gone back to normal. For me personally, I feel like things have gone back to normal, like very, very recently. It's not the prisoner's fault that a fellow was sent to prison, obviously. He's committed crime, he's gone to prison. That's part of the punishment. You can't see your kid growing up. That's part of the punishment. That's me being level-headed. But I agree, people are going to the supermarkets, people can go to the pubs, people can go out for food, people can go and get their hair done. Gyms are reopening soon. But the thing is, unfortunately, the prison system has got prisoners where they want them. In prison, locked up, frustrated, sustained amounts of lockup, which has a detrimental effect on your mental health. Lord Farmer himself states that prisoners who receive visits whilst in prison are 39% less likely to reoffend. An MOJ spokesperson said there that they're rolling out video calls. Yes, they did months after prisoners were locked down. They was talking about it and then they finally did it, but it took months, right? So, like I said, it's only they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because of prisoners' human rights and stuff. But yeah, it is sad when you've got a young baby that's not able to see its father, and it's growing up and it's walking and it's talking and the father can't see it, and it breaks the father's heart who's in prison. Yes, he's broke the law, doesn't mean he's a bad person. We all make mistakes in our lives. So yeah, I completely understand and everything, and them, like I said, it's the punishment of prison. That's the punitive measure: losing your freedom, not seeing your kids grow up, not having your liberty taken away. It's a big thing. But like I said, it's not the prison's fault. That I do believe that the system are going to keep prisoners locked up till as long as they can. Like I said, visits are slowly coming back, but you're getting a 45-minute visit a month, one 45-minute visit a month. People, how does that work when people are not always in the prison from the area that they live in, and prisoners' partners and families don't always live in the area where the prison is. If you've been shipped through dispersal and you've been sent to London, to Belmarsh or something like that, then it's a long way to travel. It's a hell of a long way to travel, right? You're traveling 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours in some cases, hundreds of miles, right, for a 45-minute visit. It's not right, is it? There should be extended visits and everything, which they normally are if people are travelling long distances and everything. But yeah, the prison system has got prisoners where they want them. They're saying that this COVID thing could have saved hundreds and thousands of lives and thousands of lives. No, because prison officers were not practicing social distancing. They was going onto different wings, shaking hands with other officers, going onto the wings, all potentially spreading the virus. Prisoners were being shipped round left, right and centre as well. That could have also potentially spread the virus further. Hence why prison escort and custody staff ended up, I think 11 prison officers and prison custody escort staff died. The true number of the coronavirus deaths we will never truly know, because the Ministry of Justice said very early on to a journalist I was in contact with, they will not disclose anything reference COVID-19 as it was caused panic and unrest. What do you think unrest means? Violence, riots in our prisons. That's what they said. So the true number of prison deaths has been swept under the carpet. I got a few out. I got quite a few out. I think I got about 6 or 7 out. Prison officers as well. Like I said, it's just mental. I understand it is to protect people. I'm not stupid. I'm not naive. It's a very dangerous, highly contagious, very dangerous, highly deadly virus. You can't practice social distancing in prison, I get that. But like I said, they've got prisoners where they want them. Prisoners will have been suffering immeasurably behind their doors, mentally, physically. Apparently, drug use did go through the roof. As soon as the visits restart, prison staff are going to be watching for parcels because the supply routes have dried up. You've still got officers bringing it in and other routes, as we know. But yeah, it takes a toll on the prisoner's family as well. Right? The importance of family ties whilst in prison can be the difference between life and death. And anyone that thinks that that's rubbish, right, has clearly never been in prison. The strain that is put on you, right? Not everyone has a support network, I get that. But those that rely on family when they are in prison, right, to keep their head on their shoulders, right, it's massive. And it really can be the difference between life and death. I genuinely believe that, genuinely. But listen, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Link in the description below like I always do. Cody out.